What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and today we have a lot of really exciting Marvel Studios news to talk about, specifically in regards to the Kang Dynasty and Kang, specifically in regards to how bad Kang is actually going to be. Now, of course, we know he is the big bad of the multiverse saga, and we just got an official debut of a Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. But what is in store for his future? Well, it sounds like he is going to be bigger and badder than he was in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I know a lot of people are going to be really excited to hear. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was written by Jeff Loveness, and Jeff Loveness is also going to be writing Kang Dynasty. And he's recently shared a little bit of what to expect from Kang in the next Avengers film. We also have some news about some new Avengers members, yes, even more news, and Tenoch Huerta returning to reprise his role as Namor, as they call him in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But let's go ahead and start off with a little preview of what to expect from Kang in the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. According to writer Jeff Loveness, he is going to be killing some of our Avengers. Now, many people thought that Ant-Man would die in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And although we did have that one scene where we kind of saw some different versions of Ant-Man die, no spoilers there, that scene is in the trailers. However, the true main Ant-Man didn't die. He made it out of the movie all right. But it looks like in the upcoming movies, Kang is going to live up to the title Big Bad. And apparently the reason that Ant-Man survived Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is because they want to differentiate Kang from Thanos. They didn't want Kang to come in and start killing people right away like Thanos did in Avengers Infinity War. While speaking with comicbook.com, writer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and the Kang Dynasty, Jeff Loveness talked about and addressed some characters possibly meeting their end. He said, "I think for these bloodthirsty fans, there's a little movie called Avengers Kang Dynasty. I think he'll bring the heat." Now, comicbook.com asked him if there were some seismic deaths on the table when writing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and here's how he addressed this. He says, "They were. We certainly gamed out a ton of scenarios, but it just felt a little obvious. It's up for debate, but it just felt like we'd be copying the Thanos approach where he comes in pretty heavy and wipes the floor with everybody. I certainly see the critiques and all that, but this is a multi-step story that we're telling. It's also an Ant-Man movie." So keep in mind that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was really designed as an introduction to Kang. This is something that gives me a lot of comfort because I really did want Kang to be bigger, but we had to keep in mind that this was still at the heart of it an Ant-Man movie. However, in the movie, they did make it pretty obvious that Kang has killed a lot of Avengers before. In fact, he's killed so many that they've all kind of started to blur together to him, he said. But he does say that writing Quantumania and the Kang Dynasty is kind of like putting a bunch of different puzzle pieces together. He continues to talk and says, "I mean, certainly in these Marvel rooms and all that, you certainly game out all these stories and you pitch them out. You write them out, and you're trying to land the best puzzle piece because there's so many characters in the ensemble. And due to the fact that there are so many characters, it seems like some of them are indeed going to die. In fact, he makes that pretty obvious." While speaking about why Ant-Man himself didn't die in Quantumania, he says, "I think people say they want that, but do you really want to see Paul Rudd get murdered in his third movie? It was all debated, all discussed, and all gamed out. But in The Wizard of Oz, you don't want to see Dorothy die and never go home. It's supposed to be one of these classic adventure movies. If everyone gets eaten in Jurassic Park, I don't know if you'll want to see the next Jurassic Park." However, when talking about deaths, he ends by saying this, "But I wouldn't worry too much about Kang's kill count. He's going to rack up some kills as he goes along." Now, since Jeff Loveness has just said this and he is writing the Kang Dynasty, this means that some Avengers are indeed going to die in the Kang Dynasty. And also keep in mind that we are definitely going to be seeing Kang before the Kang Dynasty. There's supposed to be multiple variants of him showing up in Loki Season 2. We just heard that there are going to be a few variants showing up in Shang-Chi 2 as well. And who knows where else and when else Kang is going to pop up before the Kang Dynasty. So we could be seeing some deaths in the MCU relatively soon. Now, I know some fans like this and some fans don't, but one thing that Kang killing some Avengers does is make it to where he is viewed as a very big threat. And here's one thing that I actually hope they do differently with Kang than they did with Thanos. I hope Kang physically kill some people. Yes, Thanos killed half of the Avengers team by snapping, but we didn't physically see him kill anybody. He didn't kill anybody on Titan when fighting the Avengers team, or really anywhere else. Yes, we did see how brutal he was and that he could take on everybody, but he didn't physically kill anybody himself. And that is because in Thanos' heart, he actually thought that he was saving the universe. Kang, on the other hand, is very different. He wants to conquer the multiverse, not just one universe, but every universe out there. And he will do so by killing everyone. And I really want them to show that. I want them to show how ruthless Kang is. So the fact that some Avengers are going to die is sad, but I think is very necessary if you want to show how big and how bad Kang the Conqueror actually is. Now, who is going to die in Avengers the Kang Dynasty? Right now, we really have no idea. Anybody is really up for grabs. Obviously, we know that there are characters like the Scarlet Witch, who is going to have projects for herself after Secret Wars. She's not going to die clearly. The same thing goes with Spider-Man. If the deal that we heard about him recently is true, then he is definitely having movies after the Kang Dynasty. In fact, his next Spider-Man movie is supposed to take place after the Kang Dynasty, so he is safe, but others could be in trouble. Also, they could show Kang killing characters in other universes, not necessarily ours, which some fans might enjoy more. That way, the characters all get to go to Secret Wars and fight Kang as a giant multiversal team, but from there, I am expecting characters to die, much like in Avengers Endgame, we lost Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff. And speaking of characters coming together, Jeff Loveness has also talked about with comicbook.com that he is writing for Namor in Avengers the Kang Dynasty, confirming that Namor is going to be in the film. Now, this is really exciting because a lot of people really loved Namor in Wakanda Forever, including myself. And this makes sense because if there is a huge world threat and a multiversal threat, then you're going to need all of the power that you can possibly get. And we know Wakanda is going to be involved, and at the end of Wakanda Forever, Shuri and Namor kind of made a deal to help each other. And like Namor said, it would be in his interest to help Wakanda. That way, when Wakanda needs help and they help, Wakanda will eventually return the favor to them, which is what Namor actually wants. Namor wants to rule the world, but you know, it's kind of hard to rule a world if it's being ruled by somebody else. Kang the Conqueror. But in the comics, Namor is kind of a good guy. He's more of an anti-hero. Sometimes he fights with the Avengers, sometimes against them, but it looks like he is going to be joining them to fight Kang in the Kang Dynasty. Or who knows, maybe he'll actually join Kang. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And speaking of new Avengers, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it looks like we have some new members of the new Avengers team revealed to us. Grace Randolph has recently said that Destin Daniel Cretton, who is going to be directing the Kang Dynasty, wants the Hulk, She-Hulk, and Moon Knight to be a part of the Avengers lineup in Kang Dynasty, and Kevin Feige wants Daredevil to be a part of that lineup as well. This comes as little to no surprise, as these are basically the characters that appeared in Phase 4. And Kevin Feige obviously told us that the Disney Plus shows are going to connect to the bigger movies. So these characters are going to be joining Sam Wilson's Captain America, they'll be joining Spider-Man, and most likely Captain Marvel as well. Will any of these heroes die though, since Kang Dynasty is going to bring deaths? I'm guessing no, since these are going to be some of the main Avengers, but we never know, we'll have to wait to find out. But in the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think is going to die? Be sure to let us know. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest MCU news. For live updates, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.